Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy here in beautiful Naples, Florida at Mediterra. Today, how to keep your left arm or lead arm straight for a more consistent swing. It does make a difference too because it's the radius of your golf swing, and if it's fluctuating, well, it's not so good. But we'll also have a little look at some exceptions, some great players that didn't have it straight, why and how that might apply to you. Well, believe it or not, in my opinion, the single biggest key to keeping this lead arm straight is actually the grip. Why is that? Because a good grip, we'll look closely in just a moment, helps you hinge the club. When I see golfers go back with very little hinge in the middle of their backswing, most of the time they overswing, and when they overswing, their arm collapses a little bit. And besides that, the hinge, as I'll show you, really is a key as you hinge it to actually widening the left arm, the lead arm in that process. Of a quick look at the grip, then we'll work on this. So we have a number of videos on the grip at this channel, but diagonally across the base of the fingers is where you want this. You need this pad to be more or less on top of the club. That's what gives you leverage. Unless you're particularly strong or flexible, if you grip it up in the palm, it's going to be difficult. Now I'm going to suggest to you practice this away from the golf course a little bit. Do yourself a favor. Okay, couple of keys. We don't want rigid arms that address. There have been some great players pretty stiff, but generally just comfortably straight. But as we go, again, I want you to grip it with one hand with the modified grip and bend the club away from you. Push the grip away and you'll feel how your pinky gets farther from your body. The bottom of your forearm stretches into a longer position. And the trail hand has a role there too. That should be pushing as it bends into this thumb, and that combination widens that arm out, widens that arc out. Now, if you're not very flexible, we won't get into this in detail, but if your lats are a bit tight, you can't reach back without spreading your arms, you will probably need to have a little bit of bend late in the backswing up there. It doesn't change the feel of the wrist, but if you're too rigid, you're either going to have a very, very short backswing or it's just too much for your body. So let's have a little look at how this factor of the wrist works into the start of the downswing. So the same principle really is at work. That is to say, when the wrist cocks more, the arm gets straighter. So great players, when they start down with that dynamic load of their core, the club bounces, the club loads a little bit more, and that can and should add a little bit of tension and straightness to that lead arm. Again, I would get away from the golf ball and practice this in slow motion. I feel it coming from here. I'm not trying to do that, but as that wrist pops more bent, it gives a little firmness to that lead arm. Impact next. Well, finally, there are some examples of great players whose lead arm was a little bit bent at impact. Not too many. Say Lanny Wadkins, Ricky Fowler a little bit, especially earlier in his career. Lee Westwood did that a little bit. So obviously you can play good golf doing that, but I think what you'll find, if I was to take this bucket, do something like this at home, use a chair leg or the bottom of a golf cart tire if you're outside, create an impact and push against the object that's firm, and you'll feel when your arms firm up, you can push harder. If your arms are soggy, you can't push as well. So the key is, if you are in this category, it'd be nice to be in the category of those three players, which I was, but if this is a little bent at the bottom, at least it can be firm, and do not let this space between your forearms and elbows spread a lot. So it could be a little bent, but create some sense of stability down there, at least, that will be key. And by the way, that sense of having your arms more together would apply at the top of the backswing if you have a slight bent left arm as well. A couple of closing thoughts. So in closing, I want to re-encourage you, take the time away from the golf course, a few minutes regularly, to really map this in and get the correct feel for it. It's so much easier if you go to the range having practiced something away from the golf course a little bit. And secondly, we're all built a little bit differently. So I gave you some parameters: top of the backswing, what might work for you; through impact, what might work, etc. Map something in. Isn't just what your favorite player does, but something that you physically can do reasonably easily. And I think if you do these things, you'll have some success. Thanks.